I often rely on people field and people global activities happen. And then maybe you want to yourself now?
Yes, Hugo Deschamps. So I'm from the same consulting company as Gaëlle, with this peculiar or distinctive attribute of being an ethnologist working in organizations and expert on cultural transformation and leadership subjects.
So we are going to go through actually to speak about collective intelligence and generative artificial intelligence. We will want to speak about, to just make sure we get the same thing when we speak about human intelligence, artificial intelligence, and then we'll go through collective intelligence and how we can make the most of it.
All right. So when we talk about intelligence, we talk about human intelligence, and we're not talking about artificial intelligence. What is human intelligence? That was the first question that we ask ourselves with Gaëlle. And there are different types of human intelligence. You see some of them here: logical, mathematical intelligence, which is to think logically to solve problems; linguistic intelligence, the ability to use language in a written and a spoken form in the most efficient way, or more creative way. What pertains to visual, spatial intelligence, how to think visually in the way that you interact with the world. Musical intelligence, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And then we have another set of intelligences that are, I would not say entirely human specific, but that are characteristic of us as humans. It's on the next slide. Yeah, so bodily kinesthetic intelligence, how to use your body to express yourself, and so on and so forth. Interpersonal intelligence, intelligence in the relationships that you have with people. Intrapersonal intelligence, which is the intelligence with oneself, the way you interact with yourself in terms of emotions, of thoughts, and so on. And finally, naturalist intelligence, how you intelligence in the way that you interact with the natural world. So this was modelized actually by I believe it's an author called Gardner that we took inspiration from. So these are the different human intelligence types. Let's talk about artificial intelligence. It's not a one-sided affair. You have two, I would say, macro types of intelligence that are called artificial intelligences. The first one is AI types, artificial intelligence types based on capabilities. And the second macro type is artificial intelligence types based on functionalities. So let's go through the capabilities ones. Narrow AI. Well, narrow AI, it's still on this slide, yeah. It's an AI that is trained to do a specific task. For example, Netflix recommendations. It's one specific task. General AI, it can do any intellectual task as a human would do it. So that's at this point, the next frontier. Narrow AI is something that is happening and moving forward. General AI is, we often hear, maybe they have reached general AI, or there is a rumor that they have reached general AI in such and such a tech firm. It's not the case at this point. And super AI is even better than general AI. It's an AI that could do anything that a human does, but do it even better. Yeah. So these are for capabilities-based artificial intelligences. And then you have the functionalities-based ones. Reactive AI, first one, it always gives the same result. It doesn't remember the past, and so it always reproduces the same answer. Limited memory AI, it can study past data or actions and learn from them. Best example at this point, I think, is a self-driving car. It can remember the speeds of other cars in its area, speed restrictions, distances between them, and so on and so forth, and interact and behave accordingly. So it doesn't remember everything, but has a few things that it does remember. Next one is theory of mind, AI. We have an AI here, which is just as a human. It has emotions, beliefs, and acts like a person in social situations. And they can create their own decisions and so on and so forth. This is not the case today. And finally, you have the self-aware AI. Not only does it think, behave, has emotions, and so on as an artificial intelligence, it is self-conscient that it has its own self. And this is it for artificial intelligence types. Then we can ask ourselves quickly at this point, if we talk specifically about the most common, I would say, artificial intelligence, which is generative AI artificial intelligence, what are the advantages? Advantages is increased productivity, efficiency. Think about ChatGPT, for instance. Data-driven decision-making. You can input a lot of data in it, and it will tell you what could be the different decisions and the advantages and limits of each of these decisions. Risk mitigation. It can monitor systems, identify potential anomalies, predict potential risk. New job creation. Let's say prompt engineer, for example, all the new jobs about data, data modeling, data architecture, and so on and so forth. And it can also create content generation, facilitate your inspiration when you need to create content. Limits of that, it doesn't understand actually what it tells you. It's a very probabilistic system, and you cannot fully trust what it gives you. For example, ChatGPT, recently I asked him to produce, I asked on Bard, Google Bard actually, to produce an extract of quality sources about a subject, and it gave me an article about Pierre Bourdieu, famous sociologist, and there was the title of the title, there was the year of publication and the magazine in which it was published. And I checked on the magazine website, and it was never published by anybody. It doesn't exist. It just hallucinated this source. So that is a trust issue in terms of quality of data produced here. Data privacy and security concern. If you open your data as a company to these sources, to these tools, well, you lose a part of your privacy. There are bias in some algorithms. It has limited creativity and innovation. It's a bit generic, actually, what it produces. You have to be very specific in your prompts, for instance, on ChatGPT. And there are issues about human AI collaboration. To which extent do we trust that these solutions will be, I would say, beneficial for us as humans, is a question that is being raised. And I will pass the microphone, I believe, to Gaëlle for the next slides. Don't worry, we will get to your specific subject very soon. This is just, I would say, a general introduction to the subject.
Thank you very much, Hugo. We thought it was important to share this knowledge with you so that we make sure that we speak about the same things and we have the same meaning when we speak about artificial intelligence and what we can get from it. And it's also for us very, very important to make sure that everybody knows what is possible, what is good to do with artificial intelligence and what cannot be done. So we can really go faster and go into the subject of today, that is collective intelligence. And what can we do together? What do you do regularly on a regular basis on collective intelligence topics? And how can you use or not use, or where you should not use generative artificial intelligence? So that's what we suggest we go through now. I'm sure you use this collective intelligence, even though you're not really conscious that you do that. And there are different various perspectives where you use it. First of all, when you want to understand something, I'm sure that you're thinking about what you personally think, and you're going to maybe ask some people what they know about that. You'll make a research on the web. So that's you use actually that's collected intelligence, and you collect various types of intelligence and experiences and knowledge and to understand problems. And you can do that alone or just collecting data, but you can also collect things with using collective intelligence workshops and tools and way of thinking to gather this information. We also use collective intelligence where we want to seek for solutions. I'm sure that you do that, and you can do that actually the same way you understand problems, and you also use collective intelligence where you want to learn, adapt, and improve things concretely on a daily basis, and decide and act. So when I spoke with Marie before we made this talk with you, we had this talk with you. So we thought that your use is that actually regularly when you make some knowledge management or documentation, because you have to gather a lot of information and decide what you should keep, what is important to capitalize, what is very valuable. And for that purpose, you need collective intelligence. And the thing now is to know, can we use artificial intelligence or not? When is it relevant or not? And that's not a very simple question. We tried to use it. I was with Hugo on a hackathon a few months ago, and we had this question: how can we make our job using artificial intelligence? And it was very interesting to see what was the impact, what kind of good information we got, how was it appropriate or not, in which extent, what is a way to improve our productivity or not. And so that's something we had to test. And that's something we have to test. We test with our clients, because the answer is not always the same. And it really depends on your job and the information that are on the job. And it's really something you have to fit to your purpose. So now we are going to share some experiences we had about that, but just want to let you know that you certainly have to adapt it to your own business, and that's what we do with our customers. We study their business, see how artificial intelligence can help, and we make some new we design some use cases, and we learn from that, and after we give you the key so that you can make the most of artificial intelligence and collective intelligence together. If we take the process of collective intelligence, you know that when you want to use collective intelligence and to get collective intelligence, at the beginning you have to gather a lot of information and a lot of various perspectives. So that at the beginning it's happening. At these stages, it's quite interesting to use artificial intelligence and generative artificial intelligence, but as Hugo told us before, it's important to know that artificial intelligence, it's not more reliable than human, and it can be worse than human. And you don't have for sure reliable information. So that's the kind of information you can mix with all the human information you gather, but just make sure to tag it so that you know that that's from artificial intelligence, and you may have to make sure that it is reliable when you do this. And another thing that we saw when we made this experience together was that we had really to make sure that we had moments in common, moment with ChatGPT or whatever, and to get from individual reflection and collective thinking. And again, we got into individual times, and that's important to have this to make sure you have these various moments in the collective intelligence process. Because when you're with your laptop and ChatGPT, there is a possibility that you just keep there and forget all the collective intelligence that's around you. So that's something we have to pay attention to. And I hope I'm clear. And if it's not, we can speak about that. So that there are different times.
Gaëlle, sorry, we cannot hear. Sorry, Gaëlle, sorry.
Yeah.
We cannot hear you very well. Can you switch your camera off and speak slowly, because it's awkward to understand what you're saying sometimes. Thank you very much. Sorry for intervening.
Okay. Oh, no, but you're right to say that it's important that you can get some value from that. So there are different stages when you can really get value using artificial intelligence. When you want to think about the kind of framework you can use, it can be relevant to ask artificial intelligence too. And that's what we experienced also with Hugo when we made the hackathon about that. And we also think that at the end of the process, to make a summary, it's kind of useful. When you gather a lot of data, it's kind of reliable to ask artificial intelligence to make summaries. If you shows the data you want to summarize, that it can be reliable. And to make some fine-tuning, it can be interesting too. So there are different times where it can be really relevant, and we could not say that you can use it on the whole process, and we can also not say that you should actually we cannot say that artificial intelligence can do the same thing as collective intelligence. You cannot get the same kind of value. You can just use it together to get things done. And another experience was made with connecting people with data. When you have a lot of data, it's interesting to use artificial intelligence, just like you can do that with summarized information. And another things you can do that can be interesting is to get some creativity, some more creativity and ideas. We had this experience that using generative artificial intelligence, there are some kind of creative thinking that you could miss with just people who are around the same table. The good thing also is that you can get some information that are not in the mind of the people who are there. So you can get more, and you can get things from perspective we could not have with just the people that are there. And the good things also we experienced was data analysis, pattern recognition. That's really the kind of subject where artificial intelligence can add value. Do you hear? Is the sound better or not?
Yes, it's better. Yeah.
It is, but you almost have finished your time presentation. So
we just have one more slide. It's the most concrete one. So hang in there. I'll try to do it as quickly as can be done. We are not from your field of work. So these are just intuitively what we think could be use cases in knowledge management and technical communication professions. Users of artificial intelligence. Content creation and generation. Automatically generate technical documentation, manuals, guides based on input data. Content summarization, pretty self-explanatory. You put into an artificial intelligence a large amount of data, it does a synthesis of it. Information retrieval. You ask an AI very specific instructions. It gives you the data that you want in a vast, huge data set, a vast, huge amount of documents. Knowledge-based enhancement. Analyze, categorize information in your knowledge base. Once again, all these things, they have to be asked by a human. So there will never be, I don't think there will be a full replacement of humans by AI. It's always at the initiative of a human being. Natural language processing for communication, handle routine queries, instant support, chatbots, and so on and so forth. Language translation, automation of repetitive tasks. This has been done for a long time. It's what we call the RPA, robotic process automation. It can proofread the technical documentation, for example, and check if there are errors or inconsistencies. Data entry and formatting, automate a routine task. Knowledge discovery, look into a huge amount of data, of information, of document to find patterns, insights, trends. Predictive analysis, predict future knowledge based on some historical data, at least give you some insights. And finally, quality assurance, whether it be in more than the tech field, I would say, but automated testing and also code review assistance. If in your professions, I don't know them enough, there is more and more, and I suppose it is so, a tech part, it can do also these things. So these are various, I would say, task domains where there would be value, according to us and our limited knowledge of your professions, of using AI in your work. And I will finish on this. My conviction is that the emergence, let's just put it that way, of AI is not an opportunity for less human in organization. It's actually an opportunity for more humans in organization, more humanized organizations. Because AI, at this point at least, they don't have emotions. They don't have consciousness of self, consciousness of self, consciousness of others. They're not that quite creative or innovative and so on and so forth. So we still have in the, I would say, the division of labor, us human beings still have a lot of value, and AI is the possibility to put forth even more in our work these kinds of characteristics that are specific to human beings. So we can view it as a real opportunity that we can automate what is, I would say, less human, or just a small part of who we are as human beings, and put more of these other sides of ourselves into the work. So we can view it as an opportunity from that standpoint. And I'm sorry, we were a bit too long. We have use cases from businesses that we support, that we work with, of course. More and more requests of support are emerging. And we are here to answer your questions.
Thank you very much. There's still one question in the chat devoted to Hugo. What would be the minimal size of the data set you would recommend to use AI, as in you presented examples?
I cannot answer this question because I'm an anthropologist actually, and I'm very unfamiliar with the overall technical side of these questions. If you want, we can ask our colleagues that are experts in data and artificial intelligence and get back to you. They can provide more technical answers to such questions than I could be able to do. And sorry about that, but I cannot answer that question.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Actually, there was another question from Gaëlle about GPT.
Yes. Hello. Sorry.
Oh,
I would have liked to know what do you think about the interaction between. In fact, I think that there is a conflict between the personal data law that exists already, the RGPD, I think, RGPD. And the data that AI needs to collect in order to treat, because it uses certain algorithms used for, in fact, to treat it needs data, personal data, for example. How would you cope with this conflict? Well, what do you think? Is there any idea to I don't know, is there any conflict between these?
I think it's an interesting question, and it's a matter of public policy, of course, and it's also a matter of giving your agreement. Just it's very annoying to me. I don't know if it is for you, but it's part of who we are as a civilization as we are now. Every time I get on a website, I have a cookie request. Well, it's the same thing, so in the future, you could have AI data request, but that's my personal opinion. It has to be based on your own will and agreement as a human to give that data. But of course, these machines need data. So, and it's a matter also of public policy. I don't know, Gaëlle, what is your opinion on this?
Yeah, the reason why you cannot just use artificial intelligence without thinking about that. That's really the reason why you have to study, make use cases, decide what you should do, and you're right, there are some ethical questions. And so there are actually laws in process or reflections to let them appear. And a lot of subjects are just on the table now, and we don't have a lot of answers, and that's the reason why we have to study before we do anything in a company or with people to make good things happen and not the bad ones.
Yeah, and to put forward and forward these questions is very important in the way we work with companies, because we cannot just assume that everybody wants their data to be used by a machine just because it makes sense from a business standpoint.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the answers.
I have a question about the your diagram with the diamond and the different uses of AI throughout that creative process, collective creative process. We seem to assume that you have to have some written text to feed, or some digital material to feed the machine throughout that process. And earlier this morning we were talking about like a key skill of technical communicators to turn implicit knowledge that's in the heads of people into explicit content. Have you seen uses of AI in, for example, oral group discussions?
Yes, absolutely. Just this morning, we are actually deploying Copilot which is an AI solution by Microsoft in OnePoint. And believe it or not, if I had plugged Copilot in this discussion, it could give you a very precise summary minutes of the discussion. It's very impressive. It catches the different points, who said what, who has to do what after the end of the discussion. It's very impressive. So I can imagine in the future that you can plug such a solution on an intelligent collective setting workshop, let's say, and it would summarize to you the main ideas and who put them forth and where we agreed, we disagreed, and what are the next steps, the next actions. It is, we are very close to that. And
no more minute takers and
no more minute takers.
all that.
No, it's very impressive, really. I witnessed it again this morning.
Somebody's asking if you put the name
Yes.
of that tool in the chat.
It's Microsoft Copilot. It actually plugs itself on your Outlook, on your PowerPoint, on your Excel, on your Teams, which are all Microsoft applications. And it does various things. It proposes to me in my Outlook to prepare an answer in a loop of mails according to the various points that were raised, you know, for instance. Fascinating.
Okay,
Thank
thank you very much.